What is up, ladies and germs? Parker Nierenstein here from Vehicle Virgins, here for 2020 Gas Wars. In the left-hand corner, we have the Wraith. In the right-hand corner, we have the Mercedes Maybach. This is going to be an interesting one. What's the point? We're going to see. Both of these cars have 22 miles left in their tanks. Which car runs out of gas first? Some key differences. The Wraith has a 6.6-liter twin-turbo V12. Both rear-wheel drive, they both weigh the same. This, a 6-liter twin-turbo V12. The Wraith has more power. Well, the Maybach has more doors. Which one runs out of gas first? That's for you guys to find out. Let's hop in the Wraith. But, oh, wait, hold on. I didn't want to talk about vvgear.com because we don't mention vvgear.com that often on the channel. Obviously, quality products on VV Gear, but we won't. You guys know vvgear.com. Don't even talk about it. All right, we are in the Maybach, about to see how far this thing goes, how long it takes to run out of gas, which is something I've never done before. Inspired by Mythbusters a long time ago, they did all these fuel economy challenges that showed the effect of air conditioning or windows up or down on the car's total fuel economy. And that brings up a ton of questions, guys. Obviously, a lot of you have heard of the whole Volkswagen diesel scandal and all the stuff about the EPA, and I wanted to delve into it while we're running out of gas in this car. In order to figure out a fuel economy, the EPA does a variety of different tests. This car is supposed to return 17 miles per gallon city average and 25 on the highway. So how do they actually test that it got 17 miles per gallon in the city and 25 on the highway? Well, you'd imagine there'd be a whole bunch of Maybachs and Wraiths out there being tested and driven on the actual road. But that's not how they do it. Instead, they use dynamometers, or a dyno. They take a car and they run it on a dyno. A specific individual, I believe there's between 5 and 10 different test drivers, sits in the car and runs a certain RPM course. So he is supposed to, or she, match the exact RPM in order to simulate city driving, in order to simulate highway driving. The only problem is that is matching a computer. So if they get off by 2 or 3% in the test from the correct RPMs, it's considered invalid. The other problem I have with their test is that acceleration is unnaturally slow. The fastest 0 to 60 time that I saw data-wise was somewhere between 10 and 20 seconds, even in the highest horsepower cars available. What are the odds that everyone is driving their Bugatti Chiron, which I actually saw in Michigan, being tested, and doing 0 to 60 in 18 seconds? I'd say near zero. This is where things get really interesting. Now, this isn't harping on the EPA in any ways. This is just me asking the EPA to change their tests. And I imagine that I'm not the first person to bring that up. Dieselgate. Anyhow, the EPA tests cars using a dynamometer. They don't drive the cars out on the road. They use a dyno. So every year, a couple hundred cars pass through their main testing facility, which just so happens to be across the street from University of Michigan's engineering campus, which I graduated summa cum laude from mechanical engineering. They have their facility right across the street. You could walk over there. So I actually got to see a Porsche GT3 being tested, a Bugatti Chiron being tested. I believe I saw a couple of SLS Black Series, but I couldn't tell if that was Motor Trend's or it was the EPA's. Whatever, it was cool. I got to see an SLS Black Series. Regardless, a couple hundred cars go through, which actually only represents about 15% of the entire car market for new cars. So they're only testing 15% of it. Then here's where things get really interesting. In 2012, it was proven that the test only runs, and they extrapolate data, right? So if you're imagining they've got 15% of the car market, then they're gathering data on those 15%. They can extrapolate for the rest, and they, I quote, take the manufacturer's word for the rest of the cars in the market. That's interesting. I don't know why that is. That doesn't make any sense, especially considering that the EPA is a massive organization and they don't have a big facility dedicated to cars. Could that be perhaps because airplanes and boats and things of that nature and power plants and literally everything other than cars is a much bigger global climate change issue than cars? Yeah, probably. The biggest issue in my eyes of automobiles is not the emissions they're producing, it's how the fossil fuels are actually extracted. So you can have the most clean burning, you know, Prius in the world, but if the gasoline was mined in an unsustainable way, as is the lithium-ion batteries, then the whole thing's moot, right? You have to look at the entire life cycle from the creation of all of the energy components, so everything to do with building the car, to the lifetime of it, and then recycling it. That's a big problem with lithium-ion batteries, figuring out what to do recycling it. We are, oh great, so now it says range, it doesn't tell me. That's chill. I'm going to turn around now. I guess this is the perfect time to turn around in the course so that I don't run out of gas. I have absolutely no service here, and that actually, this video got really intense real quick. A lot of people talk about air conditioning. How is air conditioning going to affect your fuel economy? Well, the reality is this. People love to use numbers to their advantage. That's for dang sure. And here's the math behind it. How do you get AC? Well, in theory, the only thing that powers your air conditioning is the alternator. So the alternator is drawing power from the motor. It has load on the engine, causes resistance. How much drop in horsepower do you get from the alternator running high to crank the AC? Somewhere between 3 and 15 horsepower. Now, it depends very much on how warm it is outside. So sure, you could turn the AC on a 70-degree day, but what's the point of that? You know, on a 110-degree day, it's very hot out right now. It's not 110. That is going to cause your AC to run more because, well, all of the cool air in here is trying to reach equilibrium with the warm air outside. It's going to, well, go through the windows, go through everywhere. Heat is going to escape, whether it's in the form of light or fire, it doesn't matter. Heat, friction, it's all the same. It's energy. If you're running a car that's got 200, 300, 400, 1,000 horsepower, it's not going to make a difference. It just isn't. The biggest thing that causes fuel economy issues is operator error by humans. If you drove like a grandma, which is one of my favorite phrases, you can get better fuel economy sometimes than even the EPA states. But if you drive like a normal human being, there's just no way you're going to hit that fuel economy. There's just no way that every situation, I'm going to roll the windows up right here. Okay, they went up right there. There's no way you're going to be able to recreate a scenario that's not real, that's produced by mathematics to estimate something that's just not estimated in a proper way, in my opinion. If you come to a stop sign, what are the odds you accelerate at a perfectly slow, smooth pace? What are the odds you decelerate at the exact rate that they're expecting you to? It's not. What if you get caught up in bumper-to-bumper traffic? Then it's totally different. What if you get caught at a red light that lasts longer because of the traffic, or it lasts shorter, or you make a right on red? There's too many variables to make this type of test actual and factual whatsoever. In fact, 18% of the city test is done with the car at idle. So why do they have automatic stop-start on supercars? Well, certainly not because it's awesome. Definitely not, because honestly, when the stop-start feature comes on and off at a light and your car's loud, let's say an Aventador S, for instance, they had to put automatic stop-start, same with all the Ferraris. All of a sudden, your car shuts off, and then it fires back up. And sometimes it's loud enough, actually, to where it might scare somebody around you, a pedestrian. I think, honestly, for cars that have loud exhaust, it makes so little sense. And then for the car guy in me, the startup is supposed to be artificially quiet because they do something with the internal combustion equation that means it's going to be quieter and less harmful pollution-wise at idle. But then the fact that at wide open throttle, it can do this and that, and then there's rules that you can't do track mode unless it's on the track. You can't put a certain exhaust even though it meets this and that requirement. It's honestly absurd to me, and it's kind of a huge bummer for the automotive industry, for the aftermarket parts industry. Just look at what happened to the diesel aftermarket parts industry after so many years. And Europe said that diesel fuel is better in certain ways than gasoline. Nothing is 100% better than another. Then all of a sudden, you know, the whole VW scandal happens, and then diesel fuel right now is at an enormous surplus. No one can get rid of their diesel fuel because no one's buying it. Basically, the United States said that diesel is bad for who knows what reason. Maybe they didn't have as much control of the diesel fuel. maybe the diesel fuel was based in Europe and we didn't have good sources for diesel fuel. It's impossible to say. I don't know the answers to that. Oh, wow. Okay. That's what running out of gas is like. Oh, we are done. We are donezo. Okay. Yep. All right. Yep, that's it. That is it entirely. And we're dead. Flooring it. Nope, we're going backwards. Okay. All right. So, wow. I know exactly how long that one took. Now we are going to try the Wraith. Yeah, I literally just ran out of gas, so. How's your day going? By the time we hit 12 miles in both cars, the Wraith was 57 seconds ahead, meaning it was getting better fuel economy than the Maybach. Now, let's see, though. Now I'm down to 5. It's literally plummeting. But, you know, it averages out. We got uphills, we got downhills. My prediction is trending in the right direction. The reserve tank on this thing is gnarly. I like that. The Wraith is not letting you run out of gas. Even when you're literally trying to run out of gas for a challenge, for an experiment, Gas Wars 2020, it literally won't run out of gas. And I applaud you, Rolls, but you are making it... Oh, nice! We have a friend! Now you have a friend in the car business. Parker Co. A blue R8 behind us, looking sexy. And a Kia Optima ruining my test. The good news is I didn't run into any traffic during it, but they did now. Did now. Get out of the way. You're making my test different. You're making my test results inaccurate. By your slowness, you are going literally way below the speed limit. Thank you. And we're running out of gas. Hold on. We have run out of gas with an R8 behind me. And we've run out of gas in the middle of the road almost. That is not ideal at all. Come on. Come on. Okay. Anyways, emergency services, activate. Didn't see you there. Just busy looking at vvgear.com, which we don't talk about, of course. Guys, on Friday, I'm going to let you know which car ran out of gas first. Whoever gets closest to the exact time, so math nerds, calculus nerds, figure it out, we got it. Whoever gets closest to the Wraith run out, to the Maybach run out, the exact time it took for one of the cars to run out of gas, you're gonna win 2 free t-shirts on, of course, vvgear.com, link in description. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like always, please browse vvgear.com and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video.